everybody, and welcome back to TechZulu Live from Source13 by Flurry here in San Francisco. I'm your host, Amanda Coulong, and we are now joined by Jeff Haynie, the CEO of Appcelerator. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So you're about to get on a panel. What are you talking about?
We're talking about app platforms and how the world is changing around application economy and how people are building applications and what happens after they build them. How do they manage them and how do they support them long term?
Okay. Well, given that you have a platform for building native mobile apps, I think you'd have some great insights there. Do you want to share some before you go on stage?
Yeah, I mean, I think the hardest part is people mostly are focusing in the last few years on the build. You know, how do you actually build an application and get it out? And of course, performance and attaining users and retaining them and stuff like that. But I think the biggest challenge now that apps have become mainstream is really what happens post the app deployment. You know, how do you test them? How do you maintain them? How do you get performance out of them? How do you determine if you're getting actually business value from them and are they achieving objectives? So that's really, I think, one of the biggest things that we're going to transition from as we go from, you know, hundreds of millions of people and billions of people now using smartphones. I think it's going to become a biggest mainstream part of our daily lives. So.
What kind of mistakes do you see people making as it relates to all of that?
Lots of mistakes. I mean, it's all brand new for all of us, right?
Yeah.
We've been doing it for a few years now, and it's still a very, very new market space. So I think the biggest problems are really underestimating what it takes to actually build an application and then really have it become successful. And successful usually means different things for different people, but typically it's adoption, is achieving some business goal from performance or retention or things like that. You know, in a lot of cases, monetization is a big important part. So I think the biggest goals, if those are the biggest goals, the biggest problems really, then how do you actually understand how to do those things? Because it's all brand new, right? There's a lot of people like at this conference, and certainly Flurry and other great companies out there that really help you actually understand how to achieve business success. But I think that's really the hardest part, because we haven't been doing it that many years as an industry, so there's no real clear roadmap always. So. You have to work with partners, and you have to work with people that have actually done it before, who've actually made a lot of mistakes, right? The best way to learn is actually through mistakes, unfortunately. Fortunately or unfortunately.
Well, isn't
we
that
all
true
make
with any
mistakes,
business?
right? So, and certainly is how do you get to scale by doing that and really leveraging learnings from before.
What do you see as some of the enabling technologies or just kind of market headspace really coming into this new year?
I think this next year you're going to start to see, I mean, certainly we've seen a growth in analytics, and that's been an important part. And as people start to understand and leverage technologies like analytics to really help A/B test or multivariate test their applications and understand what works and what performs and what doesn't, as that becomes mature, I think we're going to start to actually grow into much different areas of the application. What most big companies we talk to and work with, they're going from one or two apps to a multitude of apps inside the organization. Not only consumer apps, which of course the industry started off with consumer, but also how does their employee workforce, how do their businesses and partners, how do they work with them? And then of course, how do they manage all those things? So I think all the tooling and infrastructure and platform capability around that, you know, we think of course is going to be a big year for that. I think the enterprise adoption of mobility is happening this year.
You're not the first to say that, so that's definitely a theme coming out of the conference that I've seen so far today. Enterprise, B2B, moving away from just the consumer stuff, the gaming stuff, and all of that.
Yeah, and I think B2C is always in a new technology environment. Typically, you know, if we look at the web as a big macro trend that's similar in mobile, is that's what happened, right? We all started using the web first as really a consumer experience, and now really, you wouldn't really think about the web in a consumer versus a B2B. You would think about it just as the web, and of course it permeates all of our life, whether it's professional or personal. I think mobile's getting to that stage as well, where we're going to see mobile being used as much in the work as we do out of work, right? And that blending of that experience, I think, is going to be really interesting and hard, and that's where that's where things like BYOD trends come in, and and certainly this proliferation of devices, I think, is going to continue. We're seeing Microsoft come on the scene with a really good offering. Now we've got three fairly strong players. What happens with Samsung and Tizen, what happens with BlackBerry, I think still to be seen. But I think all those things added together really presents both a phenomenal opportunity for all of us in the market, but also a massive challenge for people that are using mobility.
Absolutely. One thing that cracks me up is this whole notion of first and second screen experiences. I mean, are we at a stage now where mobile is the first screen? Mobile meaning phones and tablets?
Yeah, I think so. It was funny. I was describing a television experience and a connected experience like through cars that we're working on, and I was trying to say I'm not sure if that's the third or fourth screen. I mean, at the end of the day, these are all screens. It's the first screen, and as we're seeing, mobile first is really becoming an important part of our daily lives, right? We're continuing to use applications first in the mobile experience, and in some cases they don't even exist in the web. They're not even enabled through the web, and probably can't be in some cases. So I think, these types of terms in the early market will probably converge, and we'll stop talking about mobile as if it was something unique and different, and mobile as the main thrust of how business actually performs and how people actually interact with each other.
When do you think it will be pervasive like that?
I still think it's a couple of years, but I think today we don't talk about the web as in the internet as if it's some foreign place, right? It's just part of our lives. We just assume that we're on the internet. I think mobile is going to be the same way very soon. We'll think when we say applications, we'll just assume it's mobile. Now, that doesn't mean that the web and the desktop as we know it's going to go away, but I do think our percentage of usage and different use cases are going to really permeate that are really going to be mobile first. And I think that's how we'll think about it as an industry. So but I still think we're a couple of years out from that.
Now, Appcelerator, as a company, you just launched Titanium. Do you want to talk about that a little?
Yeah, so we launched Titanium 3.0, which is our new version of our product, and we're really excited. It continues to add more and more features. We're really excited about our developers, our customers that use our product. We had a banner year, big milestones. 50,000 apps in the App Store. We just reached about 100 million devices that Titanium powers, so about 10% of all smartphones on the planet run Titanium-powered apps.
10%,
yeah.
Damn.
So pretty excited about that. Massive growth ahead of us. It's a really exciting time. And we're all about enabling an ecosystem. How do you really enable people to actually build these applications, and then how do you help them manage a life cycle of applications once they're deployed?
So what are your thoughts here? This is the first Source13 event.
It's an exciting event.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's exciting. We're already getting some ideas for our own event. We do a worldwide event across the street every year called Co-Strong. So we were looking at this venue as a really great place potentially, but it's a great event. There's a lot of people here. It's very exciting. Lots of people in the industry learning and sharing ideas, and that's always exciting to get great, smart people together that are trying to solve common problems, and in some cases different problems, but they all interrelate to each other. So it's an exciting event.
Any particular themes that are coming up in your conversations here that have kind of raised an eyebrow or made you go,
Well, I think it's still, certainly because of Flurry, I think a lot of the event is what happens with performance and analytics and insights, right? So I think that's still a massive area, and we're seeing it beyond just mobility. Big data and analytics in real time is really the future of how business operates.
Big data, big data, big data. I'm hearing that everywhere these days.
That's right. Yeah.
And cloud.
So I think that is the future. That's the, if you will, that's the new enterprise stack that people will have to build to.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your insights. Really, really helpful and wonderful having you. And hopefully we'll get to see you at your conference too, Jeff.
Absolutely.
We'd love
Thank you
that.
very much. We'd love you to come. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Great. Well, everybody, this is Jeff Haynie with Appcelerator, and I'm Amanda Coulong. We will see you again shortly.